someone in my school had reported large bruises on my legs, and in my gym class or something, and that's how she heard about it. That's how she pulled me in.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't talk. I was so afraid of my father. And she convinced me to talk, that it would be okay and I didn't have to live this life, like I said. And then she introduced me to the community policeman. They gave me his card, and they said, if it ever gets too bad, you call this number. Well, my birth parents at that time, it was getting worse and worse and worse. And I had a grandfather who was a pedophile. And it got to the point where they figured out my secret, which was the animals.
Yes.
And they took them away from me. And I left the next day. I called in the middle of the afternoon. My parents were across the street at the time, working on with the horses. And I called the number. I'll never forget, to this day, gives me chills. I called the number, and he answered, and he said, hello. And I told him my name. I said, this is Gigi. And he goes, he answered, he said one question. He goes, are you sure? And I said, yes. And I had no idea where I was going. I didn't know what the next day, I was in high school. I didn't know what the next day was going to bring. He said, meet me at midnight and make sure you're out for your property. And I packed everything that I could. I had a parakeet in a cage as well that I took with me, cashew. And I packed up everything, and I moved everything piece by piece by piece. My parents were sleeping. We lived in a trailer. They were at the other end. And I packed everything piece by piece by piece off the property, in tears, leaving all the animals and all the dogs and all the horses, and got off the property, long story short. And at midnight, 2 headlights came, and it was him. And he pulled up, and we loaded everything in black trash bags, and we loaded everything in his car and his trunk. And I got in the car, and I had a sheet pulled over my bird's cage. And he goes, I didn't know you were going to bring a bird. I said, well, you're lucky I didn't bring, horses and dogs and all kinds of things. And we flipped a bitch, and he put on an old country song, and my life changed dramatically.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when I was about, there's many stories, but then when I was about 17, I met an incredible family through, I was homeless and was working in a bar underage, and met this incredible girl. And her name was Missy. She's still my sister today. And she took me to her parents, and she said, this is Gigi, and she's moving in with us. And they became my family, and they're still alive today. And they know everything. Yeah.